The Galactic Council thought Earth was quaint. Primitive. A slow, lumbering blue speck orbiting a second-rate star. 5,000 of their finest warships, sleek, gleaming, armed to obliterate, approached in formation, ready to lecture humanity on obedience. They called it an inspection. To humans, it looked like a declaration of war. Captain Mara Voss of the USS Iron Resolve leaned back in her command chair, arms crossed, a faint smile playing at the corner of her mouth. The bridge hummed with quiet precision. Every officer knew the drill. Every engineer knew the stakes. But Mara wasn't interested in drills. "They're expecting us to cave, Lieutenant," she said, voice low and steady. "Let's give them something else." Lieutenant Yarrick tilted his head, brow furrowed. "Something else meaning?" Mara's smile sharpened. "Exactly what they didn't expect. Chaos. Fear. Regret." Across the void, the Council flagship decloaked in orbit, a cathedral of alien steel, perfect in symmetry, radiating authority. The Council expected shock. They expected trembling submission. They expected humanity to beg. Instead, they got Mara's grin, and a single line transmitted to every open channel. "Welcome to your first mistake." The human fleet shifted, revealing vessels hidden in plain sight, hollowed moons, derelict stations, asteroid belts retrofitted into battle platforms. Ships twice the size of Council cruisers emerged, bristling with weapons and electromagnetic traps. Mines detonated in the void, creating walls of fire and metal, turning the Council's approach into a gauntlet of annihilation. Shock wasn't enough to describe it. The Council hadn't accounted for ingenuity married to madness. Humans didn't just fight, they choreographed destruction like a symphony, with every move designed to crush, humiliate, and terrify. "Lieutenant," Mara said, eyes glinting, "watch closely. This is what happens when you underestimate a species that never stops adapting." Council Admiral Vorthak, his voice booming across comms, barked in disbelief. "Humanity, surrender! Resistance is illogical." Yarrick snorted. "Illogical? You just flew 5,000 ships into a trap and called us illogical." Mara's hands danced over the console, sending drones, decoy arrays, and EM pulses spiraling toward the Council fleet. "They think they're superior," she muttered. "Let's teach them a lesson." In that instant, the battle began. Not with honor. Not with strategy they could comprehend. With terror. And humanity thrived on it. The battle erupted like a supernova. Council ships, pristine and confident, were shredded in moments. Plasma arcs tore through their hulls, cloaking fields flickered, and entire squadrons disintegrated in unholy firestorms. Mara leaned forward in her command chair, eyes scanning the chaos with surgical precision. "Keep pushing," she said. "They think they can retreat. They don't know humans don't understand that word." Lieutenant Jarek's hands flew across the tactical console. "They're regrouping. A few cruisers are trying to fall back." Mara's grin was sharp. "Let them. It'll only make the trap tighter." Council Admiral Vorthak's voice thundered across comms, panic bleeding through the usual rigid formality. "Humanity! This is your final warning. Surrender immediately." Yarrick laughed, a mix of disbelief and exhilaration. "Final warning? They just lost 100 ships in the last 5 minutes, and you call that a warning?" Mara activated the first wave of Cerberus Protocol drones, ships smaller than a city block but packed with kinetic torpedoes and AI-guided swarms. They darted through vacuum like predatory insects, striking Council cruisers in weak points no alien design document had ever considered. Every strike was deliberate, a message: underestimate humans at your own peril. The Council's communications were chaos. Orders overlapped, commanders screamed, and sensors overloaded with interference from human jamming fields. The fleet's pride, its precision, crumbled. Vorthak's flagship tried to escape through a gravitational corridor toward deep space, but it didn't make it. A human-laid minefield detonated around it, tearing through engines, shields, and hull with surgical ferocity. Mara leaned back, voice calm, almost conversational. "Tell me, Lieutenant, do you think they'll survive our diplomacy? Jarek's face was pale, but exhilaration shone in his eyes. Diplomacy? You mean genocide. Call it whatever you want, Mara said. We're rewriting the rulebook. Humanity doesn't beg. Humanity doesn't negotiate. Humanity wins. The battlefield became a nightmare of twisted metal and cascading explosions. Human ships weaved unpredictably, exploiting Council weaknesses faster than the aliens could adapt. Every failed attack by the Council turned into another human advantage. Every attempt at retaliation was anticipated, countered, and weaponized against them. And then came the unthinkable. Humans unleashed the quantum destabilizers, experimental systems hidden in asteroid bases, designed to exploit flaws in Council shielding. Ships that should have been invincible were suddenly transparent to human weapons, their hulls ignited from the inside out. Vorthak roared, rage and panic mingling into something feral. This is impossible. Impossible? Mara murmured, almost to herself. You just proved how fun impossible can be. By the end of the engagement, the Council fleet was a burning testament to human ingenuity. The galaxy had never seen such calculated chaos, such gleeful brutality married to strategy. Humans didn't just fight, they humiliated. They dissected arrogance and turned it into an art form. And the best part? They had only just begun. Vorthak's rage was a storm, but Mara had already anticipated it. Every Council cruiser, every frigate, every transport had been accounted for in simulations that stretched weeks ahead. Humanity didn't rely on sheer firepower alone, they relied on understanding, adaptation, and cruelty disguised as calculation. Lieutenant, Mara said, eyes locked on the holographic display. Watch this. This is why they underestimated us. The Cerberus protocol activated. Hidden in every planetary satellite, every orbital platform, and buried deep in asteroid bases, it turned Earth's orbit into a labyrinth of death. Gravity wells shifted unpredictably, tearing through Council formations. Electromagnetic storms flared across the void, disabling shields. Drone swarms moved with precision that no alien AI could predict. And most terrifying of all, humanity's weapons now targeted vulnerabilities the Council didn't even know existed. Vorthak's flagship, already damaged, became a magnet for catastrophe. Mara's systems pinpointed a flaw in the Council's quantum shielding, one they had thought humans were too primitive to detect. With a single command, Mara unleashed a cascade of destabilizers. The flagship erupted from within, sending shockwaves through the surrounding fleet. 3 escort cruisers were obliterated instantly, caught in the invisible rip of collapsing reality. This isn't war, Vorthak hissed, voice breaking. It's insanity. Jarek's eyes widened at the tactical display. Captain, we could erase them. Every last ship. Mara's smile was cold, almost surgical. We already did. Survivors scrambled, calling for parley, begging for mercy, but Mara didn't care for pleas. Humans were not executioners by nature, they were predators by necessity. Each captured vessel, each life spared selectively, became intelligence. The Council's own hubris had been turned into a weapon against them. Humanity doesn't negotiate, Mara said, broadcasting directly to the Council fleet. We study, we learn, and then we act. You taught us arrogance. We return it in full. The battlefield was littered with debris, a chaotic monument to Council hubris and human brilliance. Mara leaned back in her chair, watching the remnants of the alien fleet drift, powerless and broken. This, she murmured, is how civilizations learn respect. The galaxy would remember this day, not as a war, but as a lesson. Humanity wasn't just dangerous. They were unpredictable, ingenious, and terrifyingly relentless. Months later, Earth's orbit was quiet. Not with alien fleets, but with whispered legends. Across star systems, across council chambers and trading hubs, the story spread. Humanity was unpredictable, brilliant, and merciless when crossed. Ambassadors approached with caution, mercenaries with respect, spies with dread. Captain Mara Voss sat in the bridge of the USS Iron Resolve, Yarrick beside her, silent for a moment as they watched the remnants of the Council flagship drift past like a monument to hubris. "Do you think they'll try again?" Yarrick asked, unease in his voice. "They might," Mara said, voice low, lethal. "Next time, they'll bring their best. And we'll be 10 moves ahead. Humans are like that." Her lips curved into a smirk that was both pride and warning. On the planet below, people went about their lives, unaware of the full genius of their fleet, yet feeling the quiet pulse of collective triumph. Humanity had done what no other species could. They had turned arrogance into vulnerability, chaos into weaponry, fear into strategy. They had rewritten the rules of engagement, leaving a trail of devastation and awe in their wake. The surviving Council ambassadors, forced to retreat, would carry the lesson across the galaxy. Humanity is not a species to underestimate. Their victory was not just physical, but psychological, a terrifying promise etched into the minds of every alien observer. Mara's eyes scanned the stars, calm but vigilant. "We didn't just fight," she said softly. "We survived. We outsmarted them. And we made sure they'll never forget it." The galaxy had underestimated humans. Now, every species, every empire, would remember why. Humanity, brilliant, dangerous, and utterly unforgettable.